Welcome back to the Postpartum Plan podcast. This podcast is designed to support and empower you through postpartum. Whether you're expecting, in the early postpartum days, or beyond, this space is for you. I'm your host, Madison Fugere, a dedicated postpartum doula and pediatric sleep consultant, striving to help parents feel confident and supported in their parenting journey. Each week, I'm sharing practical tips and expert advice to help you navigate all the postpartum things with confidence. Well, as much confidence as you can. Let's embark on this journey together, making your parenthood as serene and supportive as possible. Shriti is a board-certified physical therapist helping postpartum moms regain core strength, heal their pelvic floors, and improve postpartum nutrition in less than 15 minutes a day. When she's not working with her clients, you'll find her baking up healthy treats or exploring some cozy coffee shops in St. Louis. I'm super excited to have you here with me today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to talk about this topic.
Me too. Now, before we kind of dive into the actual topic itself, do you want to tell everybody a little bit about you and who you are and what you do so that they kind of get to know you a little bit?
Yes, definitely. So, hi, my name is Shriti. I'm a board certified physical therapist and I specialize in postpartum recovery. So, helping postpartum moms regain their core strength, pelvic floor, healing, and then focusing on nutrition, all under 15 minutes a day. Because we know as busy moms, you don't have a lot of time to focus on your health. So, we want to make this quick and efficient.
I love that.
But my journey started as I used to work in outpatient clinics, and I used to notice that a lot of postpartum moms would cancel their appointments. Either they didn't have childcare, they were too tired. So I was like, something needs to change here.
Yeah,
And so then
absolutely.
I started my own virtual physical therapy practice where I could support moms just like you from comfort of their home versus them worrying about making it to the appointment or the clinic and feeling tired, exhausted. So, yep, that's how we all get started.
That's awesome. I love that. And I think the big part is that 15-minute thing because oh my gosh, yeah, it's so hard to commit to something as a new parent or as a parent as a whole, I find. People are so, like you said, so tight on time. And so being able to give something that can be tangibly done in such a short time can be so beneficial to people. So that's amazing. I love that. Which I think brings us to kind of what are we talking about today? Which I think really connects to that quick, short, this is what you can do thing and kind of I know we want to talk about nutrition today and we want to talk about kind of the do's and don'ts and what are you seeing typically and how can people set themselves up for success because I know I've done a couple episodes on nutrition here and there's so much out online and it's all such mixed signals. I feel like we see so much get your body back culture online and this comparison that happens with social media and so I think it's really important to talk about the actual reality of it all. So I'm excited to have you here to kind of discuss a little bit about that today.
Yes, that is so true. And I love this topic about postpartum weight loss because I feel it is so commonly misunderstood. Like we think about weight loss as more like eat less, exercise more, but we're going to change it today. We're going to talk about why eating less is not good, but we want to eat smarter. So you're focusing more on healing and nourishing your postpartum body, and then the weight loss will just follow naturally.
That's awesome. Yeah. So I know that you said that there are, when you do calls with people, three things that you find are the big mistakes that you're seeing with a lot of people. Do you want to share a little bit about those?
Yes, definitely. Let's dive into those. So, the three most common mistakes I would see, the first one is skipping meals or just eating too little. So, whenever we think about weight loss, the first thing we would think is, oh, I'm going to skip lunch. I'll just have one meal today, or I'm just going to control my portion and eat only this much for lunch and dinner. But here's the thing, when you start skipping meals or you start controlling your food intake, your metabolism starts slowing down. And that ultimately leads to energy crashes because it starts crashing your body from inside. So skipping meals might give you like a boost of confidence, or it might even drop a few inches or pounds. But what it really is doing is it's taking out your actual muscle mass instead of the fat. So
Hmm.
we're slowing down the metabolism. We're having those 3 p.m. energy crashes, which ultimately makes you feel more tired, exhausted, and you have this mental fog where you don't know what can I do to make this better. So skipping meals is not the answer, but what we want to focus on is how we can prioritize macronutrients in each meal. That way you are eating healthy, but you're not just craving food and just eating processed food at the end of the day.
Hmm.
So that's our number one thing. We don't want to skip meals. Second thing I really see moms do wrong is they won't think about protein. So if you're a postpartum mom, maybe you have a toddler or a preschooler at home, maybe you're working full time, maybe you're running a business. So you have so many things on your plate that all you can think of is I need to get food on the dinner time today. You're
Right.
not really thinking about what kind of food we're eating. And so that's when protein gets neglected.
Mm.
Well, protein is a building block for our postpartum recovery. We need protein for your core muscles to heal, for your pelvic floor to recover, for your fascia in the belly to heal, to balance your hormones postpartum. But when we are not really thinking about what food we're putting into our stomach, but we're just eating, maybe we're doing frozen meals, prepackaged food, or you're using like a food delivery service like HelloFresh or something. You get meals, but is every meal protein heavy? Maybe you're eating pizzas, pastas, something different, which is food which you're eating, which is made naturally, but it's still not enough protein for your postpartum body. If you're
Right.
still breastfeeding, your protein from your body even goes into that breast milk because you're feeding your little one. So if you don't have enough protein in your body, think about the quality of breast milk that gets produced then. So we definitely want to think more about how much protein we are eating versus just eating because we have to have dinner tonight.
Right. Right. And I think that's so hard for people to do because, like you said, they're like, well, I don't have the brain capacity to actually think about what I should be doing or should be making, right? Which really is where it comes in with some more of the steps we'll get to in a little while, I'm sure, and some of your tips and tricks on that as well.
Definitely. And then the third thing is cutting down carbs or just not having carbs completely. Because how many times have you heard, don't eat carbs if you're trying to lose weight? But here's the thing, not all carbs is bad. So we have bad carbs, but then we also have complex carbs or the whole carbs, which are actually good for you. Because those carbs provide you with more instantaneous energy. So you're not always reaching for coffee because there are some days where you'll be like 3 cups of coffee or 4 cups of coffee down, and you're still feeling tired. You're like, where is my energy? I had so much coffee. So that's when those carbs are good for you because they're providing you with instantaneous energy, but that is still natural food. We'll dive into deeper on what foods to eat. But the focus here is I want you to understand that not all carbs are bad. We do need carbs to support our postpartum recovery functions because they provide you with more quicker energy, especially during afternoons when you're hitting that 3 p.m. energy crash. You want to reach for foods like complex carbs that would provide you with energy that you need without relying on caffeine. Because what caffeine is going to do is it's going to make you feel more dehydrated. So it's going to suck all the water out of your body. So now you're left feeling dehydrated. So then you can have headaches. You'll start feeling dizzy. So we're in this vicious cycle where we're trying to get better, but then we would go and eat things or drink food that is not healthy. So then you're feeling exhausted, you're feeling tired, and then you just give up because you're like, nothing is working. I'm trying everything. I tried to cut down food. I tried to cut down carbs. I'm not losing weight. I'm getting stressed. So we're going to break that vicious cycle and we're going to talk about a perfect plan where you know step by step what you have to do. So we're not exhausted and frustrated, but we're enjoying with our families and making good memories.
I love that. It is. It's so overwhelming, right? Like it can be so anxiety provoking for a lot of people. And like Especially when you feel like you're trying to do everything and nothing feels like it's working. And now you're stressed, which doesn't help at all, right? So I love it. I love that you've broken it down for us and now are going to be able to kind of walk people through, okay, so if this is where you're at, like you're not alone, right? Like, okay, and now this is where we start. So what should people be doing? What are these 5 steps that you suggest?
Yeah, so now let's talk about the 5-step nutrition plan that I want you to focus on for your postpartum weight loss. So, the first thing we want to think about is prioritizing protein in every meal. So, now we're talking about having breakfast, lunch, snack, and dinner. We're not skipping meals. We're going to make this super easy, but we have to have 4 meals a day. Because think, if you are still breastfeeding, you need enough nutrition for your own body, but also for your little one. And then you may have a toddler or a preschooler, and then you also have husband. You have so many people to feed on and pass on your energy. So we need meals and you need energy so you can pour from your cup into everybody else's cup in your home. So let's talk about protein first. So if you're in the postpartum recovery phase, especially anywhere up to 24 months postpartum, you really want to be having at least 75 to 100 grams of protein a day. That's the goal. Now, from that chunk, you want to think about having at least 25 to 30 grams of protein in the morning. The reason is protein is also a source of energy, but it takes longer for protein to get digested and give you the energy. So if you think about having protein in the morning for breakfast, then by afternoon, when you start hitting the 3 p.m. energy crash, the protein you had in the morning is going to actually help you. It's going to kick in and it's going to start supporting your body, giving you the energy you need. Versus if we skipped breakfast and we didn't think about protein, then now we're back to thinking, oh, I need energy. I need to get one more cup of coffee. So it's really important to start the day right with the right nutrients so that throughout the day, they're actually supporting your health versus making you feel more stressed. So now let's talk about common things that we can include in for as a protein source. So think about Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt has about 17 grams of protein. Then if you take a large egg, that has about 6 grams of protein. So that's almost 25 grams right there. But then if you like beans, like make a bean salad or something, 1 cup of beans is going to give you about 40 grams of protein. Or if you do a protein smoothie, 1 scoop has about 20 to 24 grams of protein. So I want you to get creative and think about different protein sources because nobody wants to eat the same thing 7 days a week. We
Right.
need change. We need to mix it up. But I want you to come up with different ideas. These are the 4 I usually recommend everybody to try because there are different ways, but then you still get enough protein. But you feel free to figure out, do some research on what you like to eat. But
Yeah.
the goal here is to start your mornings with at least 25 to 30 grams of protein, and then rest protein gets scattered during lunch and dinner time. Because our goal is still to get to 75 to 100 grams of protein.
Hey guys, it's Madison. Yeah, I'm here interrupting myself, but I wanted to take a minute to talk about something that can feel so overwhelming as a parent: sleep. So, if you are in the thick of the sleepless nights, struggling to figure out how to get your baby and yourself to get more rest, then I want you to know that you're not alone. Here's the thing: if what you're doing is working for you, great, keep doing it. But if it's not, there are resources to help, and I'm happy to be one of them. As a certified pediatric sleep consultant, I work with families to create personalized sleep plans that actually make sense for your current and unique situation. No cookie cutter advice, just practical strategies that match your parenting style and your child's personality. Because let's be real, sleep is not a luxury, it is a necessity. So, if you're ready to make a change, I'd love to help. You can book a free sleep connection call on my website, www.serenemomentsdoula.com, or reach out to me on Instagram at serenemoments.doula. That's really great to know. And I think that people get so overwhelmed by like breakfast because normally you're trying to get as much sleep as you can before baby wakes up, and then baby's taking your energy, and then toddlers and whatever else life has that day. So I know with a lot of my postpartum clients, I do a lot of like meal prep for breakfast things. And so I find that, yeah, doing like overnight oats or protein powder or smoothie packs or breakfast burritos, anything
Yeah.
that can be really kind of an easy grab, is where I think a lot of people end up going for breakfast if they even eat breakfast at all. So I think, yeah, prioritizing that protein during breakfast and even meal prepping, I think can be probably two really great options for people to do for that breakfast rush,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, definitely. Yes, definitely think about meal prepping, depending on when your weekend falls or when you have some help at home, that way you can focus more in the kitchen. You definitely want to stack up on things, have a running list of things you do like to eat. That way,
Hmm.
when you have time to run to the grocery store or when you're in the kitchen, you're not starting from scratch. You already have a list to go to, so things will be quicker. You know what you want to get. So yes, definitely. I love meal planning. That's
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's great to know. Cool. So we want to start with protein, and then where do we typically go from there?
so then the second thing you want to focus on is healthy fats. That's to help you balance your hormones. So healthy fats are really good because after postpartum, like after delivery during your postpartum phase, you're going to be moody. You'll be irritated for no reason. You'll just have this brain fog where you cannot think clearly. You're like, I just don't know. Don't ask me anything right now.
Right.
So that's when healthy fats come in. They really help in your hormonal balance. So it's going to help calm your brain down, but they also provide you with energy. So healthy fats are another source of energy. So typically think about healthy fats during your afternoon snacks, because these would be nuts like almonds, flax seeds, chia seeds, walnuts. Or you can think about avocados during breakfast. So if you're not having enough protein, maybe you just had a Greek yogurt or just an egg, maybe do an avocado toast if you can. So we're pairing the protein with some healthy fats because that way we are getting our energy in, but we're also supporting our hormones because we want to regulate those hormones to avoid those mood swings, to start feeling better and more calm and relaxed versus always feeling overwhelmed or agitated, irritated.
Yeah.
And then during lunch, maybe cook food in olive oil instead of just any other oil, canola oil, vegetable oil. Try using olive oil because that's a good source of healthy fat. So it's not really eating a food, but you're just cooking in olive oil, which also gives you healthy fats, which is going to support your body and nourish it in the right way. So it's really about these small things when you think about nutrition, when you can make changes. Just switch your regular oil to olive oil. So then every time you cook, you get a boost of some healthy fats. So it's not you're trying to change the whole pantry or your grocery list, but these small things, when done consistently, is going to help nourish your body. You'll start feeling better and your weight will automatically start getting under control.
That's a really great point. I love that. And it's in, like you said, being able to do small little swaps can, I feel, for a lot of people, feel less overwhelming, right? So I love that. That's awesome. Okay, so we've got the proteins, we're doing the fats, and then what are we kind of following through with the after that?
Yeah. So the next comes in complex carbs. So earlier we talked about how cutting down carbs completely is a bad idea because we do need to rely on complex carbs because they are more for your instantaneous energy. So now we talked about breakfast. Coming to lunch, complex carbs are a great source for instantaneous energy. So you want to think about foods rich in complex carbs during lunchtime because that's when you will start hitting that energy crash. You'll start slowing down. You'll start feeling more tired. So maybe think about quinoa or brown rice. Those are great sources. Or even having oats. You can either do an oatmeal as a brunch option or maybe make some dessert from oats. Like I love oat barks. Like I make chocolate oat barks. So maybe if you are running short on time that day and you don't have time for lunch, having something with oats in it is a great source of complex carbs, which is going to give you instantaneous energy. But you're also nourishing your body with natural whole foods. So we're not relying on processed foods at that time. Or maybe if you are eating something for lunch and do a sweet potato fries as a side, because that's a good source of complex carbs. So really focus on adding complex carbs during lunchtime. So you will avoid energy crashes or feeling tired in the second half of the day because you are fueling your body correctly during that lunchtime in the afternoon.
Okay, awesome. And I know for some lactation consultants, they'll also mention that carbs, complex carbs or, hearty carbs and meals like that, like oatmeals and rices and things like that can also help sometimes with milk supply too. So I feel
Yeah.
like that's two birds with one stone right there, right?
Yes, definitely. Yes, oat is a great source for healthy milk supply. So if you're breastfeeding, definitely add in oatmeal or complex carbs in some form.
Awesome. Cool. All right. And so what's our number four?
So next, we're going to focus on hydration. So you all have heard a million times we need to drink 8 glasses, 10 glasses of water. But here's the thing, when it comes to postpartum recovery, water alone is not going to make it. Because your body needs more than just water to survive and sustain, not feel dehydrated. Because if you're constantly functioning, if you're still producing breast milk, a big chunk of water from your body goes into that breast milk also. So if everything you have goes out for breast milk and you're not drinking enough water, you are going to start feeling dehydrated, which means you'll feel dizzy, you'll have headaches, you'll have migraines. So what we need here is something to support the water intake. So think about adding electrolytes, sodium, magnesium, and potassium. Those are the three main electrolytes we want to focus on during postpartum recovery. Because what sodium does, it helps in retaining water in your body. So that way, when you are producing the breast milk, not everything goes into that production, but we are retaining and saving some in your own body. So your body can function at its fullest too. Now, think about potassium. Potassium would help you with your bloating. So, if you have digestive issues, you feel gassy, or you just feel bloated, having potassium is going to help you with digestive issues, but it also helps with balancing your hormones. And then magnesium would really help you with your muscle recovery, keeping your muscles relaxed. So if you have muscle cramps or you feel constant heaviness in the belly, that's because your muscles are super tight, and we need to add some magnesium to those muscle cells so we can relax them. But it is hard to individually think about eating different foods that are rich in sodium and then potassium and then magnesium. That is so much work. So think about electrolytes, which is just one packet of electrolyte you can put into your water bottle. That would throughout the day, even if you're not drinking 10 glasses of water, those electrolytes are in the water you drink. So whatever quantity of water you do drink, you do have electrolytes going into your body. So they're still functioning. They are still helping you sustain some water in your body. They're still keeping your muscles relaxed and preventing cramps. They're still helping you with bloating. So we do want to think about how we can make water better for your postpartum recovery. Maybe add some lime and make your homemade lemonade. Or maybe you can add some berries in the water. So you're still getting a boost of electrolytes from those fruits, but you're not really needing to eat tons of different fruits and vegetables to get all those nutrients. So it's still water, but we're just getting creative and putting something in the water that we're still maximizing and getting all our electrolytes in. And we're still drinking water without having to eat 10 different fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that hydration is one of those things that everybody knows they're supposed to be doing, but always forgets to do. So remembering different ways to kind of keep it fun and fresh and a little different every time also probably makes it more likely that you're actually going to reach that water bottle and grab that cup and actually drink what's in there, right?
Exactly. Yes, because water and hydration is something that gets neglected because you're like, I'm functioning fine. I don't need more water right now.
Right. And then you wake up at 2 a.m. so thirsty.
Yes,
So
exactly.
absolutely, absolutely. Awesome. And then what's our last step of our five steps here?
Yes, and so the last one is I want you to start focusing on iron-rich food. So during delivery, you probably lost a lot of blood. So either you were anemic or you had anemia during pregnancy or during postpartum, everyone's at a high risk for anemia because we lost so much blood during pregnancy. So it's really important to start focusing on foods that are rich in iron that would help build those red blood cells and keep your blood healthy and have enough blood in your body. That way you are not going towards the anemic side. And so that would mean eating green leafy vegetables like spinach or kale. You could make spinach smoothies. So if in the breakfast you were doing a protein smoothie, maybe add spinach one day. That's a good source of iron for you. You already got your protein in. So that's really good to focus on during postpartum recovery. But you also want to add some form of vitamin C, like citrus fruits or bell peppers, because vitamin C or the citrus fruits, they're going to help improve the absorption of your iron. So eating just the green leafy vegetables on its own is good, but it's not going to absorb all the iron. But adding and combining it with lemon or citrus fruits or bell peppers, which are rich in vitamin C, they're going to actually abstract and everything from the green leafy vegetables you're eating and push all that iron into the bloodstream. So we're maximizing whatever we're eating goes into the bloodstream because that's what you want. You don't want to eat something and just flush it out. We want to try and get all the nutrients out from the foods we are eating. And that's what the vitamin C is going to do. So the fifth step would be start focusing on or adding the iron-rich foods that would help you maintain a good supply of blood in your body. But now I
Okay.
know I told a lot of things. So here's the thing. Don't go ahead and think that you have to change everything today. Your grocery list, and I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. This is a step-by-step plan for you to focus on and get to following in the next maybe 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks.
Right.
You have to go at your own pace. There's no competition that who's going to do them all first. But the goal here is to start with just one thing today. This could be you'll have nuts for snack, or this could be you'll have one source of protein for lunch or dinner. Or maybe you'll cook in olive oil today. Just think about one thing that you can do today. You have it in your pantry, or if you're going to cook, you can incorporate it in some form. But
Mhm.
what's that one thing we can do? And
I
then
love
let's
that.
be consistent with that one thing. Once you pick that one thing, I want you to try and do that for at least next 10 days. It's just one thing, but let's get consistent with that. And then once we get consistent with that one thing, then we'll think about adding something else. So don't get overwhelmed. This is just a guide, but you have
Yeah,
to pick just one thing that resonated more with you. So if you feel
absolutely.
your hormones were off, maybe you have been moody a lot, then think about adding healthy fats. Or maybe if you have been trying to regain your core strength or your pelvic floor is super weak, then maybe let's think about protein because that's what's going to support your muscle recovery. So think about what is one thing you're struggling with the most. Maybe you have 3 p.m. energy crashes. Then let's think about adding carbs for lunch. That way you get more instantaneous energy.
Yeah.
Let's pick one problem and then let's see the solution.
Absolutely. I think it can be so overwhelming, and as a society, we're such like all or nothing people, right? Like everybody gets excited about January 1st, everyone's going to work out or be this new person. We all jump into these things and then they so quickly crash and burn because it's so much of a drastic change, it's not possible. So I think remembering, like you just said, like it's not an all or nothing, being able to pick one thing that you're struggling with and adapt and add things and see that, transformation can be really helpful for people to then have the confidence and the, attentiveness to
Yeah.
then continue to look at more things and change more things. So I find that is something so important to remember with obviously nutrition, like we're talking about today, but really with everything, right? Everything takes time.
Yes, yes, definitely give yourself grace. It's not a perfect world. You won't be able to do everything every day. So if there is a day or maybe 2 days you miss on doing something, just get back in the track. Think about we have 7 days in a week. So can we even maximize 4 days out of that? Or we have 30 days in a month. Can we make it to 20 days doing one thing? So if you fall off a habit, don't think that it's all done and you have to restart. You still did it for 2 days or 3 days before you fall off the wagon. So
Right.
you can just pick up from where you left, but be gentle and give yourself grace because it is a big change and your body is healing and recovering.
Right.
So you have to give some time for yourself and just don't think that magically everything is going to fall in place next day. It is
Absolutely.
time taking, but it will happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing these very actionable steps that people can take. I think that, those of y'all who are listening can pick your thing and give it a shot. I'm going to make sure that your information is below. And I know that today we talked a lot about like the nutrition aspect of things, but I know that you also work with people on the exercise aspect as well. And you have a toolkit that I will link below as well. So definitely if you're looking for some more support or more of the exercise kind of side of this recovery process, definitely check out the show notes below and reach out. Yeah, thank you for joining me and for sharing all your knowledge.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. And I really hope your listeners got some good insights on how they can implement and improve their nutrition in 15 minutes or less.
I love that. Thank
Ago.
you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Postpartum Plan podcast. I hope that today's episode brought you support, relatability, and valuable insight. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe and leave a review and share with any of your prenatal and postpartum friends and family. Your feedback helps us reach more parents seeking support. And if you're looking for additional resources, please feel free to connect via Instagram at Serene Moments Doula for constant information, tips, and tricks, or check out my website, www.serenemomentsdoula.com. See you next week.